Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Well, we're here today. It's, of course, Mother's Day weekend. It's a special day for all of us, and not just for moms who's given birth, but I think any woman is a mom because all of us, we parent other children, we care for and encourage. And if you do any of that, I don't care if it's with your nieces or nephews, your next door neighbor, your best friend's child, you do that. And so this weekend we celebrate you and we applaud you. So of course I'm here with my co-host Teresa, but we've got a special edition, our friend from Ebony, Ivy, and Time, Leona. And Leona runs a YouTube channel where she shows off her amazing cooking skills and her abilities in home decor. And so we're excited to have Leona with us today. Welcome.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Well, I'm very glad to be here today.
Okay. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about us being moms. Since we can't get together because of COVID-19, we usually get together as buddies, and even when we have dinner parties, we like to get away from the guys. We love them, but just so we can chat and catch up. So those are the special times. So if you could see the screen, both of them are giving me a smirk because they know what I'm talking about. We get real. So, but anyway, but today we're going to talk a little bit about our roles as moms. We're going to start off with just sharing a challenge, something that's been difficult for us as moms. And it doesn't have to be really a challenge, but just something that has maybe tested you a bit or that you grew from by being a mom. So who wants to take a first stab at it? Or you want me to handle it? I'll start it. One thing that was hard for me, well, you learn to parent either through your mom or siblings or somebody close to you. My oldest sister was sort of my role model for a parent. I should have looked at that a bit more because I love her, but she was a helicopter mom. I mean, she just was just overly involved with her child. As a matter of fact, we have family stories about her parenting. But that's who I look for. She was my big sister, and that's how I learned to be a mom. As a result, well, maybe I am making excuses, but I was what do they call it? Helicopter mom.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a very nervous mom,
Mm-hmm.
just always nervous and trying to keep up with what was going on with him. And I think when I look back, I don't think that was good for him. And it was just a hard thing for me as a mom. I couldn't really settle in because I was always nervous. And part of that was, I think, because, it was a Black male and, and all that goes with that. And then he was outspoken and then he was bright. And so when you put all of that together, he was never a child that you just sort of that followed the rules. So that made, and I was always afraid something was going to happen or somebody was going to do something to him. So that I was definitely a helicopter mom for as long as I could be. And that, I don't think that was a good thing. That was a challenge for me. So yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that. Leona, you want to go?
Well, I think for me the toughest part was I had to balance between being an educator and having to deal with the children because we were at the same school.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to be able to separate teacher mom from mother.
Wow.
And,
Yeah.
and it was easier with my son and his buddies. They just rolled with it. They thought it was great. My daughter, not so much. My daughter thought, I'd really rather have you at another school. Because she didn't like the teacher mom. The teacher mom was tougher. And so that part of it was difficult. I think that was the biggest challenge, just trying to find that balance of where you're able to allow them to be independent and to develop into their own person, and yet at the same time maintain that balance of control that you need,
Right.
especially on the job.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that had to be an interesting balance.
But you know them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great kids. I do
Well,
know
I
them.
tell you, they
Great,
did well, so
great.
you must have done it right. So, yeah,
Yep. Mhm.
good deal. So, Teresa, what about you?
So for me, first I had to overcome the thought, and it happened fairly quickly, that I had always not wanted to be a mother. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're from the
So
South.
but one,
What's that about?
I
What
don't know.
gave you?
I just grew up that way. Like I just didn't ever, when I was single, I didn't think about wanting to have children. I had nieces and nephews,
Mhm.
but certainly that was really nice that I could just take them and give them back. And I liked that. But once I became a mother, then it was on. And like you, like you, Lou, I was a bit of a helicopter, but because both girls were very bright,
Mhm.
they wouldn't allow it. I mean, I couldn't help with homework. I couldn't, and that was hard. I couldn't. I mean, they had to do their projects all along, and I wanted to get in there and say, "Can I? Yeah, that would look better if you
Mhm.
know." So, and then they're very unique girls, and then not and different even amongst themselves. So they both have different. They're both very different. So parenting them looks very different. But because of that, and I worried about that, and
Yeah.
I was worrying for nothing. They've grown up to be two very accomplished women,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
are doing very good on in their own right. So I
Well,
stress for nothing.
yeah. That's always the way it is. But in hindsight, when we're in it, we think that, it's life or death situation, everything. Like,
Mhm.
what class are they going to be in next year?
Yeah,
That new
yeah,
friend
all
come
that.
from? And everything, you're stressing over everything because
Yeah,
we hear horror stories about kids and suicide and eating
Mhm.
disorder, all kinds of things that impact our children. And
yeah,
so you're just nervous about all that. But Teresa, when we said that about not wanting a kid, I have to share this. I'm from the South as well, and I was raised that you grow up, you get married, you have babies. And I remember after we had our child, I was in a feminist law class. I was, paying attention to the class, and the instructor, she was talking about abortion and women's reproductive rights, and that, this is your body. You make the decisions relative to your body. And if you don't want children, you don't have children. And when she said that, she said, and you decide if you want one or none. When she said that, I'm telling you, my head pivoted like I was in The Exorcist. I was going, woo! What you mean I make the choice about that? So I don't have to have all the
that,
and so I knew then I wasn't really parenting that well with the one because I told you about the helicopter thing. So I just thought, okay, the world would probably be better if I don't do any more than this.
so that is a great story.
It's
Lou.
Got it.
But
like,
I would tell you, I got married late and had children even later because we were married 4 years before I got pregnant. When I was single, honestly, it was the conversation piece of all my aunts
mhm.
to each other about being a spinster and what is wrong with me. Like, is she gay? What's her deal? And she defended me like a champ. And I later learned, though, she defended me because she's my mother
Mhm.
and she loves me. In her heart, she had some of the similar thoughts. She was so happy.
Wrong with her.
She was so happy when I said I was getting married, and even happier to hear that I was pregnant. Oh my goodness.
And we're laughing, but that's why I applaud the young women now who are being independent and making their own choices about, okay, what works for them, when does it work, all of that. But
Yeah.
so you just sort of like to see that, and not you certainly you want your family members to get married and to be happy and all of that. But I'm encouraged when I see young women making choices, saying, "Nah, but I'm not going to settle for that," or this is what I want for my life. So, and sometimes we didn't really get to explore that kind of independence. We came into it, I think, later. But when we were growing up, it was just sort of assumed this is the path you take. So, Teresa, you were a renegade. There you go.
I didn't even know it.
I know, or spinster, whichever. But anyway,
I see you take every opportunity to call me names, Liz.
I'm just saying.
I think just a couple of weeks ago I was weird or something.
Well, but that's true. But anyway, okay. But the next thing we're going to talk about, we're just, because this isn't going to be long, because we're going to stop this recording and we're going to then cut out, and then we're going to have our own real girl conversation. No, I'm just kidding. So, anyway, but for production purposes, we're going to have
told you about that, Liz.
The next question. The next thing we're going to discuss is, can we share a favorite memory of being a mom, or something we're particularly proud or happy about, related to us being moms for this Mother's Day weekend? Now, I started it, so
I'll go first.
All right, Teresa.
Okay.
Leona, you'll remember this story. I actually had my happiest moment before my daughter was born.
What?
Yes. When I start talking about this, Leona will remember it very well. 4 months into the pregnancy, we went to the doctor for the, what do you call it? Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. Mm-hmm.
And when they did the ultrasound, they saw these cysts on her brain, and on her neck, the skin measured very thick, which indicated Down syndrome.
Oh my goodness.
Immediately, she offered amniocentesis, and I was like, no, I don't need that.
That's the test with the lungs, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a risk of aborting the baby. It's very dangerous procedure, especially when you're over 30. I was so worried that I refused it, and I said, whatever God has given me is what is for me. I'm not risking it. So we were members of we went to church with Leona and her husband, and it was the best church family ever, I thought, back then. I mean, because this is a side note, they let me sing in the choir and didn't judge me.
Oh, well, they were a special group. Yeah. Go on.
And so I couldn't even sing in the choir at my own church where I grew up because of my voice. But anyway, I was accepted there. I loved it. But they prayed for us like you wouldn't believe. They prayed, we just prayed, because what I did do was my doctor said it is important for me to have the MDO so that I know what I'm dealing with and I can be educated on how to care for her when she was 2 weeks between the time I got the news and the time we went for the amniocentesis. And that whole time we were all on our faces praying and praying and praying and praying. We get to the doctor's appointment, and long story short, the technician is trying to find her position. They had the needle all ready to go in and pull the fluids out. And the technician has this look on her face like, what did you say was happening here? Because she wasn't seeing what she was told she should be seeing. And she brought it to the attention of the doctor, and she was like, oh my. And she got in and maneuvered around, and sure enough, there were no cysts on her brain.
Wow.
praise God. And her neck, the skin on the back of her neck, it measured normal. And
Wow. Oh my
it
goodness.
was a hallelujah shouting moment.
Oh,
And
Absolutely.
then right then, for that, in that moment, I knew God was so real and
oh
so
wow.
good. And that I believed in miracles and blessings and
Oh,
all of
yes.
it. Was
Nothing. They didn't see anything.
they
Wow.
didn't see anything. And I will tell you, one of the reasons why she's named Nia, which means purpose in Swahili, is because of that. She's here for a purpose because in addition to that, after having that miracle, I went home one last time to visit with my mom before she was born and had a car accident and had to be in the hospital down in Georgia. And it created what they said was a placenta leak or lake. I can't remember what that is, but it broke something inside, and we didn't know if I was going to carry the term, if I was going to go into labor at that moment, or nothing. But they kept me under watchful eye for a whole day. I stayed in the hospital. I didn't have any pains anywhere. In fact, I wouldn't have even, were I not pregnant, I wouldn't have even gone to the hospital. But the ambulance that came insisted that I go, and then they did the ultrasound to see and saw that there was some impact because the steering wheel hit
Yeah.
the bottom part of my belly. But through all of that, she came healthy
Wow.
and whole and
Oh
and
yeah.
been a joy ever since. So yeah, before even
That was
physically being able to hold her, that was my happiest moment.
wow. That's
Remember that?
I
that's
do. I remember that like it was yesterday.
who you
Yeah.
It's
really.
amazing. Time flies.
Yeah.
It really does. Time flies.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay. That's a great story, Teresa. I'm
it
glad, of
is.
course, everything worked out. Leona, a
Well,
favorite movie or
I think for me would definitely be um, you always, well, I did. Okay, girls. I always wanted to be a mom. And
oh yeah. Well, why we know that about you. You relish that mom role.
always wanted to be a mom.
You will always.
And when I found out I was expecting, I was just so excited. So once we had a real exciting moment going to delivery, and you all love this. I don't know if I've ever told you, but we had gone to the hospital the night before, and the nurse kept us for a little while, and she said I don't think this is going to be it. I think you need to go back home. So we went back home, and she said, but don't eat anything and walk.
Mhm.
And so what did she tell me that for? I went home, ate a whole apple pie, and Conway said, he said, well, okay, let's go out and let's do some walking. We walked 21 blocks.
Oh my goodness.
21
You know,
blocks.
wait a minute. That does not surprise me. You are so type A, but go on.
21 blocks. We show up at my mother's house, and she just about fainted. She kept looking for the car, and she said, where's the car? I said, but we walked. She said, not from your house. I said, yes, Mom. Well, needless to say, within the next hour, we were calling my sister-in-law and saying, I think I need to go to the hospital because we had walked that baby here. And so I tell you what, when they tell you to walk, it works. I'm a witness to it.
Oh my goodness.
You did make it to the hospital though, right?
Small.
You did make it to the hospital though, right?
I did, but you know what? They had to give me medicine to slow everything down so the doctor would make it.
I cannot believe you walked that much pregnant.
21, but and I mean we were just clipping right along, and I kept saying, well, we're almost at Mom's house. And he would say, well, let's keep going. And so we keep going. I didn't feel bad. I felt fine. But I tell you what, once I stopped got to her house, got something to drink, and when I stopped, it hit.
Yeah.
And so we had time enough to get a suitcase and head to the hospital.
Oh,
That
wow,
was it.
that's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, uh,
Well, my you two have shared really important stories. Mine is not like that, but this is really one of my favorite memories of being a mom. This was when my son was probably like in third or fourth grade. And Leona, you'll know this since you were a teacher, but they had him do like a 3D map. They actually had him plot out from the school to home, that he had to do this assignment. And so the teacher, she called me and she asked me to come in. She said, I want you to come in. And I thought, you know, helicopter mom, I'm thinking, what has he done now? So, I go to the school and she had all of the kids' maps on the floor, where they had, they actually made maps with the grass, with put in like sidewalks to the house and trees and everything. And so when I looked at the different I don't know if you call them maps, but that were on a symbol, that they made that were on the floor of the classroom, I looked, and some of these things, they looked professionally done. They were amazing, amazing. And then I looked to the side, and there's my kids. Now, I didn't know he had the assignment. I didn't know anything about it because really, in our household, I say I was a helicopter mom, but in our household, we just raised him that, listen, I've got a job, your dad's got a job, school's your job. So you should handle that. So I really wasn't a parent to help with homework or any of that. I didn't even know what the kid was doing. All I was doing was checking grades. But when I saw that, my heart fell, and she said, Miss Ali, I wanted you to see this. She'd given him an A plus. She said, I know these others that parents did it or they helped them do it. Evans was so accurate. I mean, I don't even know where the boy got the grass from, the construction paper, the glue. I don't know. But he understood what his assignment was, and he executed it as maybe a third or fourth grader. And I was so proud. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't know. He didn't say, Mom, can you help me? He put it together and apparently took it to the school. And she said, but that's what he does. And I thought, well, maybe I'm really not doing so bad, because it taught me that he was so independent. And he really took to heart me saying, that's your job. Get it done. And I don't expect to hear anything about you not doing it.
Sounds like you were a mean mom, not a helicopter mom.
Whatever. Somebody's got to do the dirty. Anyway.
I'm just kidding.
But that's really, and I hate to this day I didn't keep that thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that I have such a memory and a soft spot in my heart for that. So but I want us to end with something else though. What advice or maybe would you say to other moms, a bit of you know something that we could share, one piece of advice that we think might be of benefit to other moms out there? And I think for me, I'm going to take the easy way. It's what we already shared, hindsight. Now, when you're in the midst of parenting, you just think everything's so critical, every decision. And what I've learned and what I regret is that I didn't enjoy the journey as much as I should have. I didn't, just take some of the moments and not think that everything was live or die, and every decision was going to be so critical that you get caught up, particularly when you're a working mom and you're trying to manage, working and being the wife and the mom and all your other daughter and the aunt, everything else, member of the community. There are a lot of different roles you're trying to handle at one time, but I really could have done more in terms of just trying to enjoy the journey, because as you look back, it does. People say it, and when you're in the midst of it, they were telling me, "Oh, Lou enjoyed it, goes so quickly," and you're like, "Yeah, right. Okay, let me get to work, and let me go do this. I got to go do that." You don't really. People tell you, but you don't take it in. But that really is something that I think
Absolutely.
be aware of, is to just enjoy it, because they do grow up and they get their own lives, and that's as it should be. But enjoy it a bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think as a parent that those things that you encourage your children to get involved in, and certainly I do believe that children should be involved in extracurricular activities besides just the classroom and just coming home. They need to have an opportunity to really spread their wings in order to find out what it is that they want to do. But it also teaches them a lesson in multitasking,
Mm-hmm.
because in our world, we need to be able to multitask. I
Mm-hmm.
think as moms, we are probably the most fantastic multitaskers on the planet. And we have to be able to share that with their children, not so much in making them, quote, multitask, but let them see how we operate as we go throughout each day. And that gives us a chance to do things with them. I
Mm-hmm.
never put the kids in anything that I couldn't be a part of, not so much in doing it itself, but just having their back. They just wanted to see my face. They didn't care if I carried the ball or whatever it was that was going on. I didn't even have to be the coach, but they did want to know that I was there.
Right.
So I made sure that I was a part of that, and I took time to do that. So I think we need to make it a number one point to be a part of their life. That means to take the time to talk to them. You know, you're talking to them all the way, wherever it is that you're going. You're talking to them as they come back, to have fun with them. It's okay to have fun. We don't always have to be the carrier of the stick.
Yeah.
We need to be able to, they need to be able to have a conversation with us, because what happens is if we don't learn to have conversations with them while they're little, we're not going to be able to do that while they're older.
That's very true.
And that's one thing I can say. My kids and I, even today, I mean, they'll call and we'll be on the phone for an hour.
That's good. That's good
You
stuff.
know, with things that are going on. But we've been doing that from day one since they were old enough to talk.
So that's very natural to them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. So, you know, you want to try to instill in them that you love them, you have great expectations of them, but I'm your mom, but I'm also your friend to a point.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just all have to work together with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah. So along the same lines, you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder, Leona.
Yeah.
Teresa.
Leona, she always says that when she doesn't have anything. Go on, Teresa.
You see how mean she is. But, so what I would say is, along with that conversation, you really have to listen to your kids.
Mhm.
I would say, yes, talk to them, but listen to them and hear them.
Mhm.
And that's a big one. We have to listen to them. And the other thing is, you have to be, especially when you're a child, I know we joked about the helicopter mom thing, but you have to be there to advocate for them when they don't have a voice. You
Mhm.
have to be there to, they develop their voices in higher ed, but in lower ed, certainly you have to be there to help guide them along.
Mhm.
And so those are my two things: listen to them and advocate for them, advocate for your children.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely.
Told you I had something.
Well, you did. You surprised me. No, that was good stuff. Okay. Well, that's all we have for today. We just wanted to share a bit as moms, and we thank Leona of Ebony, Ivy, and Time in the Kitchen for being here with us. As always, we enjoyed it. And as always, here at Earrings Off.
When we know better, We do better.
Take good care.